Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Off Air with Jason and Alicia. I'm Jason Hackett, obviously, and this is Alicia Lewis. I don't know why the accent comes
Anytime
out
you put the hat, now take it off and just talk more normal.
I like whenever I have the hat on, it just flows, and then I take it off, and then it's just...
And just back to Jason.
It's just back to
Jason. You
Jason.
need an alter ego.
And then
again.
I put it back on, and it's like, yes, ma'am, maybe I do need an alter ego. Longhorn? Detective Longhorn.
Oh, now you're a detective.
Cowboy Detective Longhorn. Anyway, I'm going to take that off because that's ridiculous. I look ridiculous.
No, I don't think so.
No, I kind of do.
Looks good.
No, I kind of do.
Okay.
Don't lie to me.
All right.
Don't lie to my face.
I'm just trying to be nice.
I am ready for football season.
Are you ready for some football?
Monday night party.
That's cowboy. You got to wear your... Isn't that like a country? Isn't Carrie Underwood the Monday night person still?
Carrie Underwood is Sunday night. There's different themes. Okay. I think Chris Stapleton is actually Monday Night Football.
There you go.
He does In the Air Tonight, a cover of In the Air Tonight to kick off Monday Night Football. You've never heard it? And then Snoop Dogg comes in and does like a random
fancy.
It's the presentation on football nowadays is kind of crazy.
That's fun.
Let me take off this hat again. I'll keep putting it back on. But I'm excited for football, and Disney released this collaboration with the NFL. Which is pretty interesting. Yeah, because Disney is a part of everything nowadays. It's a part of our lives. It envelops us and wraps us up in a warm blanket of magic.
Okay, Walt. Calm down.
Wink. And some of them are great. So they're using Disney characters and partnering up with the teams to have like a Disney character represent all the teams.
Okay.
And some of them are perfect. Like the one for the Vikings, it's obviously Thor.
Which is wild because when you're like, you said that, and I think Thor is not Disney, but Disney owns Marvel?
Disney owns the MCU and Marvel stuff. So, yeah, that makes sense. The Miami Dolphins, King Trident is...
Okay.
You know, he has a tail and he's fish-like, so I guess
and
that makes
his
sense.
dolphins are his, like... The thing
he rides the dolphins
in his shell.
Trident. Yeah. That's, I guess, yeah, it makes a lot of sense now. But then there's others that don't make sense, like Chewbacca. And the Packers.
You don't think Packers and Chewbacca...
I do not at all. Fun story about that. Back in my 12th grade, it was physics class. Me and my friend Mike. Shout out to my friend Mike. He's been my friend for the past 20 years now.
Hey, Mike.
I've known that guy. We were making Chewbacca noises in classes, back and forth to each other in physics class. I was doing, and he would go... and I would go, and it would just increasingly get louder. And
that'd be so annoying.
He got kicked out of class.
And you didn't?
No, I didn't.
Because his was more annoying than yours was.
More annoying and more authentic.
Oh, I bet he's like that. Jason Hackett.
Resents me to this day. He's still a good friend.
That's a fun Chewbacca story.
Yeah. Everybody should have a fun Chewbacca story.
Now Packers fans have one, apparently. They can all, but it's fun because the swag is like Packers and Star Wars.
Yeah, which is good. Like, yeah, two cool franchises merging together. You pointed out that there's very limited female characters.
And there's a lot of women that like football. So come on, Disney and NFL, Roger Goodell. They did have one that we saw when we scrolled through.
They had two from what I saw. So they had Jessie from Toy Story representing the Houston Texans.
Okay.
And then they had Maleficent representing the Baltimore Ravens.
A lot of these are like... Okay, that's a stretch.
Yeah, some of them are spot on.
Ones?
Some of them are spot on. Like you had
Millennium Falcon
for the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay,
you had Thanos. He is the Mad Titan in the comics. In the comics, he represented the Tennessee Titans.
Okay,
so that made sense.
It's kind of fun though, because then you can have the gear with like the Vikings, and then there's Thor, which already looks like Vikings gear. Yeah. When I saw them,
they didn't have to change much.
They didn't have to change much. At all.
He had the helmet and everything.
But like the lions are Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
No,
right?
the lions are Simba.
Oh, Simba. Who's Beast? Oh, Bills.
The Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills.
Which I guess he kind of looks like a bison.
Kind of looks like a bison.
I guess
whatever. Scary creature he is.
The New England Patriots or Captain America, whatever.
What would have been fun with the Bills logo as the Beast, he should have been like, the table that him and Belle eat at, he should have been crushing it. Because,
jumping through the
brand.
table, yeah, because
right?
Bills fans are crazy,
they
as
do
we
that,
all know.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's some good ones. Of course, they're going to cost you $50, $60.
For a T-shirt.
For a T-shirt.
I'm not shocked by that. Anything NFL and anything Disney. And then you marry the two, it should be $100.
It should be $200.
They both want to cut.
And you know what? They're probably going to sell out. You probably go on the store right now. You probably can't find any because people are willing to pay anything for NFL and Disney merchandise.
NFL fans are a fan base, and Disney fans are a fan base.
And you merge those two, and you get a super fan base.
Super duper fan base. Well, that's exciting. Are you going to buy one? Dolphins?
I don't know. I thought it was going to be the shark from Finding Nemo. Which
For the
sharks
dolphins?
and dolphins. I know. Different animal. I get it. Doesn't make any sense, but I thought it was going to be the shark. I don't know. King Triton he's cool, I guess. He held down his daughter from wanting to explore the human world.
Yeah,
but
he had a bad dad moment.
kind of an oppressor, but whatever.
But then he learned parents make mistakes too.
That is true.
There's a lot of deeper meanings in these Disney classics.
Solves a lot of daddy issues.
Daddy issues, parents dying off,
Typical Disney.
Other news headlines this morning that we followed that thought were fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the LA 2028 games are coming up in a few years, and we're going to be there, of course.
Manifesting.
That's how we did it before.
The cloud of smoke in the room. You can't see it right now.
So they have this new thing. It's called. I have to pull it up because I was like, "What is it?" It's Archer is the name. It's the official air taxi provider of the LA 2028 game. So it sounds exactly as it is exactly as it sounds.
Okay.
It's like a giant drone that fits people inside, and it will drive you to your destination across busy LA in about 10 to 20 minutes versus like 2 to 3 hours.
Which makes sense in terms of them wanting this kind of technology in LA because I've never been to LA, but from everything I've heard, the traffic there is absolutely horrible.
Like you want to go to the grocery store, you want to go to a show. I remember I went to Jay Leno in LA. It took us 2 hours to get to Jay Leno, and we were downtown.
2 hours.
And he's like in Burbank or wherever that is. And it took us so long to get there.
Oh, wow.
And so when I was in Italy covering the games, one of the because they were talking, the LA planners were there, like learning the ropes. And that's one of their biggest hurdles is how are we going to get everybody from facility to facility? Because a lot of these places are far apart. They're using venues that were, older that they used in the past. So it's going to be an interesting thing. And this plane taxi, which is going to be for like elite status, I feel like, because there's only so many seats on these little drone planes.
You're not gonna be able to call a drone plane for $20.
Yeah, no, it's not like Waymo and like this drone picks you up, which would be cool, and I'm sure that's the future.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
This is the starting gate, so we'll see. But in 2 years to have it all the kinks worked out, I don't know.
Especially for so many people. I mean, the pressure is on when you have the Olympics. These are people coming from around the world, and you want to make sure everything is completely ironed out before you put people in these planes that go in the air to fly short distances.
Right.
So I'm not exactly sure. I have a complicated relationship with things that are automated. I rode in Waymo the other day when I was in Atlanta for NABJ.
So what is it through? Is there a Waymo app or is it through Uber?
So I requested a ride through Uber, and I was waiting, and then there was a notification that popped up that said, "We found a Waymo in your area, and if you want to ride that, hit the button and we'll get it to you."
Was it cheaper?
It was the same price, but
that
it was
seems
just
weird.
It just got to me quicker than like finding a driver and whatnot. Like the Waymo was right down the street, and I was like, "Hey, this Waymo's close by. If you want to ride this, you have to accept the terms and conditions, and then, hit yes and go through with it." And I feel like when we first heard of Waymo here on Sunrise, I always said, not going to ride it. I want to wait for them to work out the kinks. Maybe a few years from now, way down the line, I'll ride it. I feel like it hasn't been enough years, but also I just really wanted to get on. I didn't want to wait for a driver. And I was like, you know what? I'm in Atlanta, big city. Let me just hop in one of these things. And you hate small
talk. So
I hate small talk.
There's no one to small talk with when it's Waymo.
That's one of my biggest fears is hopping in one of these things and somebody talking my ear off.
Happens.
No offense to any of these drivers. They're doing great work, but sometimes you don't want to talk. Sometimes you just want to ride and look out the window
my destination, please.
And just and imagine things and daydream. And so
make a smiley face.
So to hop in this Waymo, to have nobody in the driver's seat was pretty weird, but also, again,
does it say like in an AI voice like, "Jason, welcome"?
No, not at all.
That's like how I picture it.
Everything's displayed on the screen. So I get in and it's like, "Welcome, Jason," and it shows me, my destination and the time to my destination. It reminds you that you need to buckle up. It reminds you not to grab the steering wheel because it's doing its own thing. There was a thing on the display that you could push to have it pull over. I don't know in what. I guess if you're having an emergency or
vomit,
if you have to vomit, I don't know, but you could push it to pull over. And then it had like satellite radio stations. One was like, top 40 pop hits. So you could
pick the music at least.
Yeah, you could.
That's kind of nice.
But it was all like, shuffled and randomized. You can't pick specific songs or specific artists. It's just genres. It was only a 13-minute ride, so I wasn't there very long, but It drives the speed limit. It obeys all traffic laws.
Were people looking at you? Unless they're used to it in Atlanta. If I saw one around here, I'd be like, there's no one driving that car, so I would call the police.
And I think that's the thing. People are used to it in Atlanta. One of my friends was telling me there that they don't go on the highways. Those Waymos don't go on the highways because there was an issue where there was flooding in Atlanta and the Waymos were driving into the flooding and getting flooded out.
That's getting the kinks out. They got to work on that.
Exactly. Those are things because from what I understand, Waymo is more of a West Coast California company. And so they didn't account for like issues like flooding and stuff like that, because I guess it doesn't really flood in California, just mudslides and earthquakes
and fires
and all that stuff. You know, the other natural
disasters.
Horrible
things.
So yeah, it didn't account for that. So they take the streets and roads. It doesn't take highways. So it probably could have gotten me to my destination quicker if it took the highway, but it took the streets. And
I'm shocked it's the same price.
Yeah.
I guess there's people behind the scenes that, like, if there was an emergency, can you call someone from Waymo and be like,
yeah.
me?
You can call. Okay. There's an emergency button you can hit to talk to a Waymo spokesperson.
Would you use it again?
I think I would. But the only downside of that is there are a lot of people that do Uber and that do Lyft that depend on the wages. And I did feel bad taking that money out of somebody's pocket who depends on the income that they get from Uber and Lyft.
And that, especially since it was the same price. You think it would be cheaper because no one is driving. And
same
it's not
exact price. And you don't have to tip. That's the other thing. It doesn't ask you for a tip at all.
So it was cheaper.
Yeah.
Because if it was the same price, but then you put a tip on top.
Because usually if my experience is good with a human driver, I'll tip. But with Waymo, you can't tip a computer. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Waymo.
So going back to the taxis, I'm interested to see how that works out.
Oh, in LA.
California.
Going back to LA. Yeah, that's going to be totally interesting. I would never use it in LA. Maybe like the next one in 2038. We'll give it.
Are you going to give it that long?
I don't know. I just feel like I don't like to take helicopter rides, like to do the tourism thing. When my husband and I were in Hawaii. And then on the news that morning, because I watch local news when I go places different. I'm like a news nerd.
We're dorks.
Yeah. They were talking about a helicopter crash with tourists. I'm like, see? This is exactly why I live in fear in that way. So I will not be getting on one of these little drones for a while.
You've never been in a helicopter?
No. Okay. When I started here and I was the traffic gal at KARE 11, 12 long years ago, I thought I got to like fly around in Sky 11 and I'd never...
Hanging out the helicopter.
Just like, there's a crash.
I can see 394, there's a crash.
Why do we always revert to old-timey newsy voice?
I don't know, because it sounds right, Alicia.
It does sound right, yes. But I never got to do that. We did have Sky 11. We still do, but...
If given the opportunity now to ride on a helicopter
I don't
somewhere
know.
here in the Twin Cities.
I got children to think about, Jason.
Okay.
As their godfather, you have to take care of them when I'm away.
That is very true, and I don't want that
My husband's like, wait, what? Where am I? That's how that works.
We'll co-parent. It's fine. We'll figure it out.
You can bring him to Spider-Man when I die in this imaginary story. What is wrong with us?
Yeah, helicopters are safe. Stop it.
Okay.
I'm going to get you on one day.
Okay.
I used to ride the traffic helicopter back in Oklahoma City.
See,
it was a lot
that's
of fun.
okay.
Shout out to Chase, wherever you are.
He's on the
Chase
case.
Rutledge. He's also not a Paw Patrol character.
And then we're going to end on that. Chase is on the case. We hope you join us at the fair for Off Air.
Can't wait to see y'all there. Y'all come back now, you hear?